Lily, a young white girl, ruins the birthday party of her best friend, Jasmine, a black girl, by making a scene that humiliates Jasmine in front of all the guests. What Lily doesn't realize is that Jasmine's reaction will have consequences far beyond what she had imagined. The question now is how Jasmine will deal with this situation after the damage is done. Will she seek revenge or choose a path of forgiveness? Keep watching to find out, and before we continue, comment where you're watching from and, if you liked this story, don't forget to subscribe. The sun was beginning to set, dyeing the quiet neighborhood where Jasmine lived with a soft golden glow. Its streets were lined with immaculate lawns and houses that seemed uniform, differentiated only by the color of their doors. In the middle of it all was Jasmine's house, a simple but cozy two-story residence with a porch where her family would gather on warm evenings. Inside, there was a lively atmosphere, laughter, conversation, and the occasional sound of dishes as Jasmine and her mother prepared for a big day. Jasmine, at 17, radiated energy. With her dark skin and bright eyes, she had a personality that attracted everyone around her. Her curls framed her face perfectly, and her eyes sparkled with excitement as she organized the preparations for her long-awaited 18th birthday party. She had planned everything carefully, from the decorations to the soundtrack, with the help of her best friend, Lily. Lily Thompson, on the other hand, was the opposite of Jasmine. Where Jasmine was easygoing, Lily was outgoing and full of confidence. Her blonde hair was always impeccable, as was her style, which made her stand out wherever she went. Despite their differences, the two had been inseparable since childhood, sharing a rare bond that many admired. Lily was there for every important moment in Jasmine's life, and Jasmine did the same for Lily. They shared secrets and dreams, spent all night at sleepovers and supported each other through every challenge. However, as Jasmine's birthday approached, something changed. Lily, who was always so confident, began to feel uncomfortable with the fact that all eyes were now on Jasmine. It was a new feeling for Lily, who was used to being the center of attention, and she didn't know how to deal with it. Jasmine, on the other hand, was so involved in the preparations that she didn't notice the subtle changes in her friend. The compliments Jasmine received for the party made Lily feel left out, and this created a tension that Jasmine didn't notice. With each new detail of the party, Lily's insecurity grew. One night, while they were organizing the final preparations, Lily, trying to hide her feelings, casually commented that Jasmine might be exaggerating the details. Jasmine, surprised, firmly replied that her 18th birthday was very special to her. Although Lily tried to smile and support, a slight bitterness was noticeable in her tone. In the days leading up to the party, Jasmine was busy with messages and excitement from her friends, not realizing that her friendship with Lily was on the verge of a crisis. Lily seemed distracted as Jasmine, excited about the party, organized the final details of her 18th birthday celebration. The guest list was ready, the decorations chosen, and everything coordinated with her parents to ensure the event would be flawless. Throughout this process, Lily was by Jasmine's side, but increasingly distant as the big day approached. Jasmine, always charming and kind-hearted, was receiving even more attention than usual, with compliments coming from friends, teachers, and even peers who normally didn't get involved. This made Lily, accustomed to being the center of attention, feel a growing wave of insecurity and jealousy, although she didn't want to admit it. Seeing Jasmine shine so brightly made her feel overshadowed, and she didn't know how to deal with it. One afternoon, as they were hanging the last decorations in the backyard, Lily let out a bit of her frustration. Funny how everyone is treating this like the event of the year. It's just a party, not a wedding. Jasmine, surprised by Lily's tone, calmly replied, but it's important to me. I've been waiting for this for months. Despite trying to keep the conversation light, Jasmine could tell something was wrong, as Lily didn't seem like herself. The night before the party, the two had kept up their tradition of sleeping together, but this time, the conversation was different. The mood was heavier, with a palpable tension in the air. When Lily asked if Jasmine was nervous, she received a nonchalant answer, while she herself seemed to struggle with thoughts she'd rather not share. The morning of the party, Jasmine woke up excited. The day was beautiful, the backyard perfectly decorated, and all the preparations were complete. Jasmine's parents were taking care of the last details in the kitchen, and her siblings were running around the place. Lily, on the other hand, was quieter than usual, answering Jasmine's parents' questions briefly and avoiding much interaction. Jasmine noticed, but decided not to press her, hoping that her friend would improve once the party started. By noon, the scene was set for the big event. The backyard had been transformed into a colorful space, with streamers, balloons, and a DJ booth to ensure fun. However, what Jasmine didn't know was that the tension between her and Lily was about to culminate in a defining moment that could change the course of their friendship. Jasmine's parents had taken great care of every detail, even renting a photo booth so guests could capture fun moments from the party. Strings of delicate lights decorated the trees, twinkling like tiny stars in the late afternoon. Balloons in shades of rose gold and white floated above tables covered in white tablecloths and decorated with fresh flowers. A towering banner with the message, "Happy 18th Birthday, Jasmine," welcomed guests at the entrance to the backyard, which was ready for the celebration. The pool sparkled under the blue sky, reflecting the light, while themed floats, like inflatable swans, added a playful touch to the decor. Next to the pool, a small stage was set up with a microphone ready for Jasmine's speech, which would take place later. The DJ was adjusting his equipment, preparing to liven up the party with Jasmine's favorite hits. The food was another highlight. Jasmine's mother had personally coordinated everything, with a selection of appetizers, the famous jerk chicken and the macaroni and cheese that the birthday girl loved so much. On the dessert table, the large cake decorated with sugar flowers and 18 candles drew attention. As the first guests began to arrive, Jasmine greeted them with a bright smile. She looked stunning in her flowing pastel dress, with her hair in loose curls and elegant earrings completing her look. She radiated happiness, and the compliments only increased as more people arrived. Beside her, Lily was also dressed well, but as she listened to the guests complimenting Jasmine's beauty and the party, she began to feel increasingly uncomfortable. Always used to being the center of attention, that day everything seemed to revolve around Jasmine. "This party is amazing, Jasmine. You rocked it," exclaimed one of her colleagues, hugging the birthday girl. "Thank you. I couldn't have done it without Lily's help," Jasmine replied, her eyes shining with joy. Lily forced a smile, but inside, her discomfort grew. She had put in the effort to organize the party, she was present in every detail, but she felt invisible in the face of so much attention being paid to Jasmine. The backyard was soon filled with laughter and conversation, as the guests enjoyed the decorations and enjoyed the food. The DJ started the music and soon people were dancing near the pool, creating the perfect setting for the party Jasmine had always dreamed of. She was radiant, surrounded by her friends and family, enjoying the moment with lightness and joy. However, for Lily, every compliment directed at Jasmine was a painful reminder of her own invisibility that day. At one point, Lily found herself alone, watching from afar as Jasmine smiled and laughed with her friends. Jasmine's happiness was evident, and while everyone seemed to be drawn to her, Lily struggled with feelings of jealousy that she couldn't shake. "Hey, Lily, how are you?" asked Carla, a friend who noticed Lily isolated. Forcing a smile, Lily replied, "Yeah, I'm fine, just taking it all in." Carla nodded, though clearly not convinced, before heading back to the party. As the night wore on and the atmosphere grew even more lively, Jasmine remained the center of attention, dancing and laughing with her friends. Lily felt guilty for not sharing in their joy. She knew she should have been there celebrating with her best friend, but instead, she felt like a bystander, on the sidelines. Finally, unable to contain her frustration, Lily decided to take action. As the party lights brightened, Lily tried to step into the spotlight, joining Jasmine in dancing. For a brief moment, she managed to gain attention, receiving compliments on her moves. But as soon as Jasmine regained the spotlight, all eyes turned to her again. Noticing Lily's behavior, Jasmine became uneasy. Sensitive to her friend's emotional state, Jasmine realized something was wrong, but before she could speak, she was distracted by another guest. Lily's discomfort, however, grew, and her passive-aggressive comments began to appear. When someone complimented Jasmine's dress, Lily would snap, "It's pretty, but blue would have been better." If someone complimented the decorations, she would respond, "We almost didn't make it in time." And when Jasmine's favorite song came on, Lily would mutter that her playlist could have been more upbeat. At first, Jasmine tried to ignore it, attributing it to her friend's fatigue, but over time, the comments became harder to ignore. Other guests noticed the tension, and the uncomfortable atmosphere began to spread. In a moment of calm, Jasmine finally asked, "Lily, is everything okay? You've been acting strange all day." Lily, in a harsh tone, insisted that she was fine, but the discomfort was palpable. Even though she wanted to continue the conversation, Jasmine was interrupted by another guest, leaving the feeling that something was still very wrong. As the party progressed, the joyful atmosphere began to take on tense tones. Lily's jealousy grew and she could no longer hide it. Every smile from Jasmine, every shared laugh, felt like an affront to Lily, who felt increasingly left out. When it was time for Jasmine's speech, the tension reached its peak. Jasmine, nervous and excited, went up on stage to thank everyone. The audience, including Lily, was gathered. "I want to thank everyone for being here," Jasmine began, emotionally. As the speech flowed, the guests applauded and Jasmine felt overwhelmed with affection. When it was time to thank Lily, Jasmine looked at her friend. "Lily, you've been by my side the whole time, you helped me plan this party, and I couldn't have done it without you." Instead of gratitude, Lily's resentment flared. She stepped forward and interrupted Jasmine's speech, her voice bitter. "Oh, please spare us the sentimental speech. We all know you love being the center of attention." The crowd fell silent in disbelief as Jasmine stared at Lily in astonishment. Her mind tried to process what was happening, but the reality of the situation hit her like a punch. "Lily, what are you doing?" she managed to ask, her voice shaking. But Lily didn't stop. "You always have to be the center of attention, don't you? Everything revolves around you, and I'm sick of it." Lily's voice rose with each sentence as the guests looked around in confusion. This wasn't the light, playful friendship they were used to seeing between the two, there was something much deeper and more painful going on. Jasmine felt a knot in her stomach, realizing this wasn't a joke. "Please, Lily, not now," she begged, trying to remain calm. But Lily only laughed dismissively, her eyes flashing with anger. "Now. It always seems like the moment for you, Jasmine. I'm tired of pretending everything's okay." Lily's comments were like knives, cutting Jasmine in sensitive places. The mood at the party, which had been one of joy and celebration, became heavy, charged with tension. In the midst of anger and jealousy, Lily decided to reveal what she knew would hurt Jasmine deeply. "Do you want to know the truth about perfect Jasmine? She didn't get into the college of her dreams on her own merit. It was a donation from her parents that got her there." The revelation fell like a bombshell. Jasmine felt the world collapse around her. The secret she had confided in Lily, in a moment of vulnerability, was now exposed to everyone. "That's not true," Jasmine protested, her voice cracking as tears streamed down her face. But Lily didn't care. "Everyone knows the truth now," she replied coldly, as Jasmine tried to process the emotional blow. Murmurs spread through the crowd. The pride Jasmine had felt minutes before was now turning to humiliation. Unable to bear it any longer, she fled, tears clouding her vision as she ran away from everything, the stairs, the comments, and most of all, Lily. The guests stood frozen, too shocked to react. Jasmine's parents exchanged worried glances, but it was clear that the party was over. What should have been a celebration had turned into a disaster, ruined by Lily's jealousy and anger. Lily, for her part, felt the weight of her words as soon as she spoke them. The adrenaline that had driven her evaporated, giving way to a crushing emptiness. She looked around and saw the faces of the people she knew, now filled with disappointment and disbelief. For the first time, Lily understood the gravity of what she had done. "I didn't mean to," she tried to say, but the words died in her throat. It was too late. The damage had been done. The friendship she had cherished so much with Jasmine was destroyed, perhaps forever. Feeling defeated, Lily fell to her knees, tears filling her eyes. She wanted to knock Jasmine off her pedestal, but in doing so, she only managed to hurt herself. As the guests began to disperse, still whispering among themselves, Lily remained on the floor, consumed by regret. That night, she hadn't just lost a friend, she'd lost a part of herself, the part that was good and kind. Jealousy had taken that away, leaving only an aching emptiness. The night did not end as Jasmine had dreamed, filled with laughter and joy. Instead, tears and sadness replaced the celebration. The courtyard, which had once been full of life, was now silent and deserted, reflecting what had been lost. The lights still shone overhead, but they seemed less radiant, as if they had also been affected by the events. As Lily stood alone in the darkness, she couldn't help but think that perhaps this silence was exactly what she deserved. In the weeks that followed the ruined party, both Jasmine and Lily seemed distant, each dealing with the aftermath of their broken friendship. The two, once inseparable, now rarely crossed paths at school or around town, and when they did, the look of pain and regret between them was inevitable before they quickly looked away. For Jasmine, the hardest feeling to deal with was not only the public humiliation, but the fact that her closest friend, the one she trusted, harbored so much resentment and envy. Lily's words, especially about her college entrance exam, echoed in her mind, bringing a pain that would not go away. And the worst part? There was a bitter truth to the accusation. Jasmine had confided this weakness to Lily, seeking support, but her trust had been used against her, cruelly. Shutting herself away from everyone, Jasmine began to decline invitations from her other friends, preferring the solitude of her room. Her worried parents watched as their once cheerful and outgoing daughter became increasingly reserved. One evening, as she was absently leafing through a textbook, her mother softly entered the room. "Jasmine, honey, can I talk to you?" Mrs. Daniels asked, her voice thick with concern. Reluctantly, Jasmine nodded. Sitting down next to her daughter, her mother offered support and understanding. "What Lily did was wrong, and you have every right to be hurt, but isolating yourself won't help," she said, pulling her daughter into a comforting hug. Jasmine hesitated before answering, but the anguish in her voice was evident. "How can I trust anyone else after what Lily did? What if others let me down too?" Her mother sighed, understanding the depth of her daughter's pain, but reminded her that not everyone would hurt her in the same way. "You can never have guarantees, my child, but you can't let one person define all your relationships," she advised. Meanwhile, Lily was also facing the consequences of her actions. The adrenaline from her confrontation had faded, replaced by an overwhelming guilt. At school, the atmosphere had changed drastically for her. Judgmental glances and whispers now followed her through the halls, and those who had once greeted her warmly now avoided her. Lily had fallen from popularity to ostracism in the blink of an eye, and the pain of it only increased when she thought of how much she had hurt Jasmine. She tried to reach her friend multiple times, sending messages and leaving voicemails, but Jasmine never responded. Every silence from Jasmine was a cruel reminder of how the bond between them had been broken, perhaps forever. Lily was barely touching her food, lost in thought, when, to her surprise, Amara, one of Jasmine's close friends, sat down across from her. "Hi," Amara said, her tone neutral, leaving Lily unsure of how to react. It was the first time in weeks that someone had approached her voluntarily. "Hi," Lily replied cautiously. Amara studied her for a few moments before asking, "Why did you do that? Why did you hurt Jasmine like that?" The question, which Lily had been asking herself repeatedly for the past few weeks, tightened her throat. "I don't know," she admitted in a whisper. "I guess I was jealous, angry. I felt like I was being left out." Amara frowned. Left out? You've always been the center of attention. How could you feel that way? Lily shook her head, frustrated with herself. I know it sounds absurd, but seeing Jasmine so happy, so confident, it made me feel insignificant, like I was losing my place. Amara raised her eyebrows in disbelief. Space. Friendship isn't a competition, Lily. Her happiness doesn't take anything away from you. Amara's words resonated deeply, and tears began to well up in Lily's eyes. I know that now. God, how selfish and stupid I was. I let my insecurities get the best of me, and I reacted in the worst way possible. Amara was silent for a moment, taking in what Lily had said, before adding, in a firm but gentle tone, you really hurt her. It wasn't just what you said at the party, but the fact that you betrayed her trust. Jasmine trusted you, and you used that against her. Lily nodded, not daring to look Amara in the eye. I know. I tried to apologize, but she won't answer me. And I understand. Amara, without sounding accusatory, asked, can you blame her? It's not just about hurt feelings, Lily. You made her doubt your friendship. It's not something as simple, I'm sorry, will fix. So what do I do? Lily asked desperately, her eyes full of pleading. Amara sighed, her expression softening. I don't know if it can be fixed completely. Some things can't be undone. But if you really want to try, you're going to have to do more than just apologize. You have to show that you've changed, that you understand your mistake, and that you're willing to be a better person. With that, Amara stood up, but before she left, she turned to Lily and said, and maybe you should think about why you felt so threatened by her happiness. That's not how a true friend feels. Amara's words echoed in Lily's mind as she stood there, alone, in front of her forgotten meal. She knew Amara was right. A simple, I'm sorry, wouldn't be enough. Lily needed to do more, she needed to be more. In the days that followed, she dove into deep self-reflection. She spent hours writing in her journal, trying to sort out the confusing feelings that had led her to ruin Jasmine's party. Over time, Lily began to see patterns in her behavior that she had never noticed before. The confidence she had always displayed like armor was actually very fragile, dependent on the attention and admiration of others. When Jasmine began to shine, Lily felt threatened, as if Jasmine's success diminished her own. But there was something deeper going on. Lily began to confront the uncomfortable privilege she had always had. She knew, on some level, that her life had been easier in many ways than Jasmine's, but she had never really considered the impact of that. As she revisited moments from their friendship, Lily realized how often she had ignored or minimized Jasmine's experiences, especially those related to the challenges of being a young black woman. She hadn't meant to hurt, but her insensitivity had caused pain. One night, as Lily sat staring at the pages of her journal filled with reflections, she made a decision. She couldn't change the past, but she could start working on herself. She opened her laptop and spent hours reading articles and watching videos about privilege, unconscious bias, and how to be a true ally. As she learned more, Lily realized how much she still had to figure out. At times, it was overwhelming and uncomfortable, especially when she remembered things she had said or done. But she persevered, knowing that this was a necessary process for growth. Over time, small changes began to emerge. In discussions at school, she began to listen more and speak less, especially on topics that didn't directly concern her. Their friendship began to fray, and Lily found herself eating lunch alone, picking at her food, her appetite gone. Suddenly, someone sat down across from her, and she looked up, surprised to see Amara, one of Jasmine's close friends. "Hi," Amara said, her expression neutral. Lily blinked, unsure how to react. After all, it was the first time in weeks that someone had approached her. "Hi," she replied cautiously. Amara studied her for a moment before asking, "I'm not here to fight, I just want to understand. Why did you do that? Why did you hurt Jasmine like that?" Lily's throat tightened, and she found herself at a loss for words, repeating the question to herself countless times over the past few weeks. "I don't know," she confessed in a whisper. "I guess I was jealous, angry. I felt like I was being left behind." Amara raised her eyebrows. "Left behind? Lily, you've always been the center of attention. How can you feel that way?" Frustrated with herself, Lily shook her head. "I know it doesn't make sense, but seeing Jasmine so happy and confident made me feel small, like I was losing my place." "Your place?" Amara repeated in disbelief. "Friendship isn't a competition. Her happiness doesn't take anything away from you." With tears in her eyes, Lily murmured, "I know now. God, I know how selfish and stupid I was. I let my insecurities get the best of me and I hurt her in the worst way." Amara was silent, absorbing Lily's words, before saying softly but firmly, "You really hurt her. Not just by what you said, but by betraying her trust. She trusted you, and you used that against her." Lily nodded, unable to look Amara in the eye. "I know. I tried to apologize, but she won't talk to me, and I don't blame her." Amara pondered. "You can't blame her, can you? It wasn't just what you said, it was the trust she lost. That can't be fixed with a simple, 'I'm sorry.'" With pleading eyes, Lily asked, "So what can I do? How do I fix this?" Amara sighed, her expression softening. "I don't know if you can fix it, Lily. Some things can't be undone. But if you really want to try, you have to do more than apologize. You have to show, with actions, that you understand your mistake and that you've changed." Amara stood up, gathering her things, but before she left, she looked at Lily and said, "And maybe think about why you feel so threatened by Jasmine's happiness. That's not how a true friend should feel." When Amara left, Lily was left alone, reflecting on those words. She knew Amara was right, an apology wouldn't be enough. She needed much more to make amends. Over the next few days, Lily immersed herself in self-reflection. She spent hours writing in her journal, trying to understand the emotions that led her to act the way she did. As she put her thoughts on paper, she began to notice patterns in her behavior that she had never noticed before. She realized that her self-confidence, which had always seemed unshakable, was actually fragile and dependent on the admiration and envy of others. When Jasmine began to stand out, Lily felt as if her own worth was at stake. More than that, Lily faced the uncomfortable truth about her own privilege. She knew, on some level, that her life was easier than Jasmine's, but she had never really acknowledged it. As she reflected on their friendship, Lily realized how insensitive and dismissive she had been to Jasmine's experiences, especially when Jasmine talked about the challenges she faced as a young black woman. Lily would often ignore or change the subject, not intending to hurt, but her lack of empathy caused deep damage. One night, as she looked through the pages of her journal, she made a decision. She couldn't change the past, but she could start changing herself now. She turned on her laptop and began reading articles and watching videos about privilege, unconscious bias, and how to be a better ally. The more she learned, the more she realized how much more she had to learn. It was uncomfortable at times, but she kept going, knowing that this was a necessary step toward growth. As the weeks went by, Lily began to apply what she was learning. In class discussions, she found herself listening more and speaking less, especially on issues of race and inequality. An unexpected new opportunity arose when the class president announced a special project, a video montage that would capture the seniors' journeys to be shown at graduation. Students were invited to submit photos and short videos of memorable moments from the past 4 years. When Jasmine heard about the project, her initial instinct was to ignore it. Revisiting old memories, many of which involved Lily, seemed painful. But that night, as she scrolled through photos on her phone, she stopped at a picture from her sophomore year. It was from the school's cultural fair, where she and Lily were smiling side by side. Jasmine was wearing traditional African clothing, while Lily wore a colorful dress borrowed from a friend. The happiness on their faces brought a sour taste, and a lump formed in her throat. Despite everything, Jasmine could not deny the authenticity of the friendship they once shared. The next day, she made a decision. She approached the class president after class. "Hi, Sarah," she began hesitantly, "I have some pictures for the graduation video. Is there still time to send them?" Sarah smiled and replied enthusiastically, "Sure, I'd love to receive them." "Thank you, Jasmine." Handing over the flash drive with the photos, including the one from the cultural fair, Jasmine felt mixed emotions. Part of her wondered if she was making a mistake by revisiting old wounds, but she also felt like it was an important step toward accepting the past and moving on. What Jasmine didn't know was that Lily had made a similar decision. She had also sent photos to the video, including several of her with Jasmine. Like Jasmine, Lily had debated at length about whether or not to include these memories, but in the end, erasing their friendship from her memories seemed unfair. With graduation approaching, they both found themselves reflecting on their shared past and uncertain future, carrying the weight of unresolved feelings. One afternoon, a week before graduation, Jasmine found a friendship bracelet while cleaning out her locker. A simple, colorful string bracelet with small charms, Lily had given it to her on the first day of high school, a symbol of their friendship. Jasmine wore the bracelet every day until that fateful night of the birthday party that ruined everything. Holding the bracelet, memories flooded back, the laughter, the secrets, and the dreams they shared. The pain of betrayal was temporarily replaced by a profound sense of loss. Without much thought, Jasmine slipped the bracelet into her pocket. She wasn't ready to wear it again, but she couldn't let it go either. Meanwhile, Lily was going through a similar process of reflection as she packed her room for college. She came across countless mementos of her friendship with Jasmine, photos, notes exchanged, small gifts. Each item was a bittersweet reminder of what she had lost. One object in particular caught her eye, a photo of them at prom, smiling broadly, their arms around each other. Lily vividly remembered that night, getting ready together, taking selfies and laughing as they put on makeup. It was a perfect night, full of joy and dancing. Tracing her finger across the image, regret filled Lily's heart. She knew she had allowed her own insecurities to destroy something precious. The next day, with her heart racing, Lily approached Jasmine's locker. Nervous and with sweaty palms, she was determined to do something. She saw Jasmine exchanging books and called her name softly, "Jasmine." Jasmine stopped, hands still on the locker door, and turned slowly, her expression wary. "Yes," she answered. Lily took a deep breath and said hesitantly, "I know you probably don't want to talk to me, and I understand. But I just wanted to give you this." She held out an envelope with a shaking hand. Jasmine looked at the envelope and then at Lily, confused and tired. After a brief moment of hesitation, she took the envelope. "What is this?" she asked. "It's a letter," Lily explained in an uncertain voice. "I've been trying to find the right words for months. Writing it seemed easier. You don't have to read it, but I needed you to know." Jasmine nodded slowly, holding the envelope steady. "Okay," she replied, her tone neutral. Lily gave a small, sad smile and murmured, "Thank you." With that, she turned and walked away, leaving Jasmine alone with her thoughts and the envelope in her hands. Jasmine spent the rest of the day holding the envelope in her hand, feeling its weight in her backpack, almost as if it demanded her attention. At various points, she considered tearing it up or throwing it away without even opening it. However, when she got home that night, she finally decided to face it. Sitting on her bed, her hands shaking, she broke the seal and pulled out several pages filled with Lily's familiar handwriting. "Dear Jasmine," the letter began, "I have tried to write this many times, but I am still not sure of the right words. Even so, I must try. You deserve an explanation and, more than that, an apology. First, I want to say that I am truly sorry. I know that these words do not erase what I did, nor heal the pain I caused, but I want you to know that I deeply regret it. Lily went on to confess that she apologized not only for what happened at the party, but for all the times she had acted insensitively, putting her own feelings above Jasmine's. She acknowledged that her betrayal was unforgivable and that the pain she had caused publicly was a result of her own jealousy and insecurity. "Losing your friendship made me realize how much I took this for granted," Lily wrote. "I've spent the last few months trying to understand my actions and I've come to realize that a lot of it was down to my ignorance. I never recognized the challenges you face and I was so caught up in my own world that I didn't realize how my words affected you." Jasmine read intently, feeling a whirlwind of emotions as Lily talked about trying to change, learning from her mistakes, and committing to being a better person. Although Lily said she didn't expect forgiveness, she wanted Jasmine to know that her regret was sincere and that no matter how things went, she would always root for her. As she finished the letter, tears streamed down Jasmine's face. She felt anger, sadness, but also something else she couldn't quite identify. Over the next few days, she read the letter over and over again, noting Lily's sincerity, her lack of easy excuses, and her acknowledgement of her flaws. While this didn't erase the pain, it did bring a new perspective. As graduation approached, the mood at school grew more and more emotional. Students said goodbye, exchanged yearbooks, and made promises to stay in touch. Jasmine was caught up in this whirlwind of emotions, trying to reconcile the end of a chapter in her life with the uncertainty of what would come next. The night before graduation, unable to sleep, Jasmine lay in bed thinking about the future, about college, about leaving home. But amidst these thoughts, her mind kept returning to Lily and what had yet to be resolved between them. After tossing and turning in bed, she picked up her phone and hesitantly began typing a message. After several pauses, she finally took a deep breath and sent it. Across town, Lily was also awake, pondering what was to come and stewing over past mistakes. When her phone vibrated, she nearly dropped it when she saw Jasmine's name on the screen. The message was short: "Can we talk after the ceremony tomorrow?" Lily's heart raced as she quickly replied, "Yes, of course. Whenever and wherever you want." Jasmine's reply came shortly after, "Okay, I'll see you later." The day dawned bright and sunny, perfect for an outdoor graduation. The schoolyard was filled with students dressed in blue and gold, hugging their families and posing for photos. During the ceremony, both Jasmine and Lily were distracted by the speeches and the conversation they knew they would have later. When the class video started, they both held their breath, worried that the other might have included photos of them together. As the images played on the screen, accompanied by nostalgic music, laughter and applause filled the room. At one point, photos of Jasmine and Lily together at various high school milestones appeared, at the cultural fair, at the prom, and Jasmine felt a lump in her throat as she watched the story of their friendship being displayed. She glanced over at Lily, who was discreetly wiping away tears. Their eyes met briefly, and Jasmine felt a rush of emotion. After the ceremony, amid the chaos of photos and celebrations, Jasmine decided to approach Lily, who was standing a little away, looking uncertain. "Hi," Jasmine said softly, catching Lily's attention, who looked up, surprised and hopeful. "Hi," Lily replied in the same tone. There was an awkward silence before Jasmine suggested, "Do you want to go somewhere quieter to talk?" Lily nodded eagerly. They walked in silence to a more secluded corner of the courtyard. Jasmine sat down on a bench, and after a moment's hesitation, Lily joined her, keeping a distance. "I read your letter," Jasmine began, her voice steady despite her nervousness. Lily just nodded, not trusting her own voice. "It meant a lot to me that you wrote it, and I appreciate your sincerity in apologizing," Jasmine continued. "I meant every word," Lily whispered, her voice breaking. Jasmine took a deep breath and continued, "What you did hurt me more than I can explain. It wasn't just the public humiliation, it was the breach of trust. I trusted you with something very personal, and you used it against me." Tears welled up in Lily's eyes, but she held them back, knowing she needed to hear what Jasmine had to say. "For a long time, I was so hurt that I just wanted to forget our friendship ever existed," Jasmine admitted. But the truth is, I missed you, and that made me even angrier because I felt like I shouldn't miss someone who hurt me so much. Lily, her voice shaking, whispered, I'm sorry, Jasmine, I really am. Jasmine acknowledged the apology with a slight nod. I know you're trying to change, and I've seen it, even from afar, Jasmine added, making Lily hopeful, yet cautious. But I can't say I forgive you, at least not yet. Lily's heart sank at this, but Jasmine continued, however, I think I'm ready to try to move forward with forgiveness. I don't want to carry this anger and pain with me anymore. Lily's eyes widened in surprise, and she could barely contain her emotion. I don't deserve a second chance, but if you're willing to give me one, I promise I'll do everything I can to earn your trust back, Lily said. It won't be easy, Jasmine warned. A lot has happened, and we can't just go back to the way we were before. We'll have to start over. Lily nodded, understanding fully. Even if we're not best friends again, I'd appreciate any place you'd allow me to have in your life, Lily replied sincerely. Jasmine was silent for a moment, then pulled a faded friendship bracelet from her pocket. Do you remember this? She asked, holding it up. Lily sighed with emotion. Of course I do. I made this for you on our first day of high school, she said emotionally. Jasmine ran her finger along the frayed strands. I almost threw it away when I was cleaning out my locker, but I couldn't. It felt like I was throwing away all the good memories along with the bad ones, she explained, holding the bracelet out to Lily. I'm not ready to wear it again, but maybe we can keep it as a reminder of where we started and where we can go from here. Lily accepted the bracelet carefully, feeling deeply touched. They were both silent for a moment, taking it all in, until Jasmine broke the silence with a gentle but resolute voice, if we're willing to try, let's do this right. The morning started out bright and sunny, creating the perfect backdrop for an outdoor graduation ceremony. The school campus was a sea of students in blue and gold gowns, hugging their parents and posing for photos. During the ceremony, Jasmine and Lily felt torn between the speeches and the anticipation of the class video. When the moment finally arrived, they both held their breath, wondering if the other had included photos of them together. The images began to appear on the screen, accompanied by a nostalgic soundtrack that brought laughter and applause from the audience. The video featured highlights of Jasmine and Lily's high school years, including the junior cultural fair, the prom, and a variety of memories. Jasmine's heart sank as she saw their friendship portrayed, and when her eyes met Lily's, a wave of emotion washed over her. After the ceremony, as family and friends gathered for photos and congratulations, Jasmine decided to make her way through the crowd to find Lily, who was standing alone, looking unsure of herself. Hey, Jasmine called softly. Lily looked up, surprised and hopeful. Hi, she replied, just as softly. A brief silence fell before Jasmine suggested, would you like to go somewhere quieter so we can talk? Lily nodded quickly, and they walked toward a quiet corner of the school grounds. Jasmine sat down on a bench, and after a hesitant pause, Lily followed her, keeping a respectful distance. I read your letter, Jasmine began, trying to keep her voice steady despite her anxiety. Lily nodded, not confident enough to speak. It meant a lot to me that you wrote this, Jasmine continued. I appreciate your sincerity in apologizing. I meant every word, Lily replied softly. Jasmine took a deep breath and continued, what you did hurt me more than I can express. It wasn't just the public humiliation, but the betrayal of trust. I shared something personal with you, and you used it against me in a cruel way. Tears threatened to well up in Lily's eyes, but she held them back, feeling that she had to listen to Jasmine in silence. I was so angry that I didn't want to think about you or talk about what happened. I just wanted to forget that our friendship ever existed, Jasmine confessed. But the truth is, I miss you. I miss my best friend, and that makes me even more frustrated because it feels wrong to miss someone who hurt me. I'm sorry, Lily whispered, her voice choked with emotion. I know it doesn't change anything, but I'm really sorry for everything. Jasmine nodded, acknowledging Lily's words. I know you're trying to change and become a better person. I've seen that, even from a distance. A glimmer of hope rose in Lily's chest, even though she felt unworthy of forgiveness. I'm not saying I forgive you, Jasmine continued, making Lily's heart drop. Not yet. What you did isn't something I can just forget. It's going to take time. I understand, Lily replied, trying to hide the disappointment in her voice. However, Jasmine softened her voice, I think I'm willing to start working on forgiveness. We're about to start new chapters in our lives, and I don't want to carry this anger around with me. It's exhausting. I don't know what to say, Lily stammered. I don't deserve a second chance, but if you're willing to give me one, I promise to do everything I can to earn your trust back. It won't be easy, Jasmine warned. We can't just go back to the way we were before. We'll have to start from scratch and build something new. Lily nodded eagerly. I understand that I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Even if we can't be best friends again, I'd be happy to be a part of your life. Jasmine was silent for a moment, considering. Then, slowly, she pulled out the friendship bracelet she'd found in her closet. Do you remember this? She asked, holding it up. Lily sighed, tears welling in her eyes. Of course I do. I made this for you on our first day of high school. Jasmine nodded, running her finger over the faded strands. I almost threw it away while I was cleaning out my locker, but I couldn't. It would be like throwing away all the good memories along with the bad ones. She held the bracelet out to Lily. I'm not ready to wear it again, but maybe we can keep it as a reminder of where we started, where it all went wrong, and where we hope to go from here. Lily took the bracelet gently, as if it were made of glass. I wish I could tell you, she murmured. They were silent for a moment, each lost in their own thoughts. Then Jasmine spoke again, her voice gentle and firm. If we're willing to try. Striving to be a better version of myself is a positive outlook, Jasmine agreed. New surroundings and new people give us a chance to grow. Exactly, Lily agreed, and I want you to know that even if we go our separate ways, I will be committed to developing, learning, and becoming a better person. Lily's words warmed Jasmine's heart, and she realized that her old friend was genuinely committed to change. I'm proud of you, Jasmine said gently. Facing our flaws and seeking to change them is no easy task. Lily's eyes filled with tears, but she quickly held them back, thanking you with a whisper, this means more to me than you know. As the sun began to set, the group gathered to take pictures, without needing to argue. Jasmine and Lily stood side by side, their arms around each other's shoulders. The intimacy between them was not the same as before, but it was still progress. Later, while reviewing the day's photos, Jasmine came across one of the two of them smiling for the camera, with the sunset in the background. The image evoked mixed emotions, the pain of the past was still present, but a sense of hope for the future overshadowed it. She decided to share the photo on her social media, publicly acknowledging the progress they had made. After a brief moment of hesitation, she posted it with the caption, New Beginnings #BeachDay #friends. Within minutes, Lily had liked and commented, expressing her gratitude for second chances and new beginnings. With summer coming to an end and college time fast approaching, Jasmine and Lily met for coffee. They had texted frequently in the previous weeks, but this was their first one-on-one time since their post-graduation chat. Sitting at a small table at their favorite coffee shop, they both held warm mugs. An awkward silence ensued until Lily broke the ice by asking if Jasmine was excited about college. With a smile, Jasmine confirmed that she was excited, but also nervous. Lily shared her anticipation and mentioned that she had already reached out to her roommate. As they talked about their plans and expectations, Jasmine realized how much she missed these relaxed moments with Lily. As the cups were emptied, Lily's expression became more serious. Jasmine, her voice soft but firm, said that she wanted her friend to know that despite their different institutions, she was determined to continue her personal development. She had signed up for diversity and inclusion workshops and planned to join clubs at college that would help her learn more and become better. Jasmine was proud and affectionate of Lily's dedication. "That's wonderful, Lily," she said sincerely. "I want you to know that I'm here for you if you ever face microaggressions or discrimination at your school. I've learned the importance of being a good listener, and I want to be someone you can trust in those moments." Lily's words touched Jasmine deeply, and she recognized how much her friend had reflected and learned over the summer. Before they left the cafe, Lily took a small gift package from her purse and handed it to Jasmine. Unwrapping it, she found a beautiful journal with a soft leather cover and her name engraved on it. "Oh, this is wonderful," Jasmine exclaimed excitedly. "I thought you could use it to record your experiences at college and maybe share some of it with me." "I would love to hear about your journey," Lily commented. As they prepared to leave, Jasmine made an instant decision. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a friendship bracelet she had found in her locker, a symbol of the strong bond they had shared. Slowly, she said, "I'm ready to wear this again, if you're willing." Lily's eyes lit up with surprise and hope. "Are you sure?" Jasmine nodded yes. Although she knew it wouldn't have the same meaning as before, she believed it could symbolize the new beginning of the friendship they were rebuilding. With trembling hands, Lily slipped the bracelet onto Jasmine's wrist and, in an impulsive gesture, pulled her into a hug. Initially surprised, Jasmine relaxed and hugged back, feeling the weight of the past few months lift away. When they pulled apart, they both had tears in their eyes. "Thank you for giving me another chance to believe that people can change," Lily whispered. Jasmine smiled through her tears, thanking Lily for showing her that change was possible. As they left the cafe, a sense of peace enveloped Jasmine, as if there was finally a path to the future. She knew the road ahead wouldn't always be easy, there would still be difficult conversations, moments of uncertainty, and old wounds that could resurface. But she also knew that both she and Lily were willing to work hard to build something new and beautiful from the ashes of what they had experienced. As they parted ways to finalize their college preparations, Jasmine fingered the friendship bracelet she wore on her wrist. It was a reminder of her past, but more importantly, it represented what was to come, a symbol of forgiveness, growth, and the power of second chances. As she looked to the future, Jasmine felt prepared to face the challenges that lay ahead. She had learned valuable lessons about friendship, trust, and the importance of standing up for yourself, but also about the ability to change, the power of forgiveness, and the beauty of new beginnings. With a smile on her face and hope in her heart, Jasmine headed home, eager to embrace the next chapter of her life and the renewed friendship that would be a part of it. What would you have done if you were in Jasmine's position when Lily apologized? If you enjoyed this story, please consider subscribing to my channel. I put a lot of time and effort into creating these heartfelt stories, and your support means a lot to me. Thank you for being a part of this journey.